11 people run the biggest cattle station on the planet. 5.8 million acres of harsh Australian outback. That's Anna Creek Station. They use planes, motorbikes, solar pumps, and GPS tracking. Because without tech, this place doesn't run. It's tough, remote, and unforgiving. But for the crew here, it's not just a job. It's life on the station. Subscribe to Digital Papyrus for more real stories about ranches, cattle, and cowboy grit.
Life on the station, daily work, cattle operations, and technology. A herd of Santa Gertrudis cattle gathers at a watering trough on Anna Creek Station. Managing water points like this is critical in a land where rain is scarce. Running a cattle operation the size of a small country requires a blend of old-fashioned grit and modern innovation. At Anna Creek Station, a tiny team of about 11 people manages this vast property. The typical staff includes one station manager, about 8 stockmen and station hands, a mechanic, plant operator, and a cook. It's astounding to think that just a dozen people oversee an area larger than some U.S. states. With such a lean crew, everyone wears multiple hats. A stockman might spend the morning repairing a busted bore pump, the afternoon mustering cattle on a motorbike, and the evening helping the mechanic weld a broken windmill tail. The station's manager, currently a member of the Williams family, coordinates logistics, cattle sales, and maintenance of countless infrastructure spread across the property. It truly is a round-the-clock job. But as the workers often say with a smile, it's not just a job, it's a lifestyle. Central to that lifestyle is the care of the cattle herd. Anna Creek typically runs Santa Gertrudis cattle, a breed chosen for its tolerance to heat and drought. In peak times after good rains, the station can carry up to 15,000 to 17,000 head of cattle. In bad droughts, that number plummets. At one point in 2008, the station was down to only 1,500 head and had essentially destocked most of its paddocks to save the land and animals. The herd size fluctuates with the seasons, demonstrating a key principle of outback ranching, flexibility. The cattle roam in large pastures, paddocks, that can be hundreds or even thousands of square kilometers each. To keep cattle healthy, station workers must ensure reliable water sources across these expanses. Water points are life-sustaining oases in each paddock. These include bore-fed troughs, wells with windmills or solar pumps, and a few dams that catch rainwater runoff. The station taps the Great Artesian Basin, an ancient underground aquifer, by drilling bores that often flow to the surface. In the past, bores would flow freely into open earth drains, but modern practice is to cap and pipe the water into tanks and troughs, reducing waste and preserving pressure in the aquifer. The Williams family, upon taking over, invested heavily in upgrading water infrastructure, adding new pipelines and tanks so cattle could graze more evenly without overusing any one spot. Remote sensors and solar-powered pumps now allow the manager to monitor and control water levels in tanks from the homestead, a far cry from the old days of riding for hours just to check a well. One of the most dramatic aspects of station life is cattle mustering, the roundup of cattle for branding, sales, or moving to fresh pasture. In earlier times, Anna Creek maintained a large force of stockmen on horseback, and mustering could mean weeks of droving cattle over vast distances, with stock camps set up along the way. Today, the process has been revolutionized. The station employs light aircraft and motorbikes to accomplish what once took dozens of riders. A small fixed-wing plane, like a Cessna, or sometimes a helicopter, is used to spot and flush out cattle from the air, covering ground far faster than any horse. When mustering with a plane, the idea is to fly behind the cattle, using the noise and presence of the aircraft to push them in the desired direction, explains an experienced aerial mustering pilot. From above, the pilot guides the stockmen on the ground via radio, effectively acting as a flying sheepdog. Meanwhile, teams of stockmen on motorbikes and 4x4 ATVs spread out below to drive the cattle into a mob and toward the yards. Because of Anna Creek's immensity, a single muster can be a monumental task. Some of the station's paddocks are so large they're bigger than entire other stations in Australia. One pilot noted it might take up to a week of flying and riding to muster one big paddock completely. During mustering season, the crew often camps out in the field for days at a time. They bring along a camp truck, essentially a mobile bunkhouse and kitchen built into a shipping container, which provides basic shelter and cooking facilities for the drovers. A station cook prepares meals ahead of time, stews, curries, and fresh bread, frozen and loaded onto the truck to feed the hungry crew in the bush. At night, far from the homestead, the stockmen roll out their swags, bedrolls, on the ground and sleep under unbelievably bright stars with the sounds of cattle and crackling campfires in their ears. As one worker described, "Once I did my first week out at camp, I got used to it and I loved it. Life became simple, with no phone reception, and all we focused on was each other and the work." This camaraderie in isolation is a cherished aspect of station life. The crew forms a tight-knit Outback family forged by long days of hard toil and shared triumphs when a muster goes well. Back at the homestead, life has its own routines. Early each morning, usually by 6 a.m., everyone gathers at the station workshop or yards after breakfast. The manager or head stockman gives a rundown of the day's plan, which bore needs fixing, which mob of cattle to muster or draft, or perhaps instructing a team to repair fences on a far-flung boundary. Given the station's size, teams often depart on Monday and won't return until Friday, working on remote sections through the week. Saturdays are usually for maintenance tasks at the homestead, servicing vehicles, checking inventory, maybe catching up on paperwork, and then a bit of relaxation. Come Saturday evening, it's not uncommon for workers to pack into a four-wheel drive and drive to William Creek's pub to blow off steam with a cold beer and swap stories with folks from neighboring stations. Every few weeks, someone makes the longer trip into Coober Pedy to pick up supplies, spare parts, mail, and maybe enjoy a treat like pizza before heading back to the ranch. Sundays are typically a day of rest, treasured after an arduous week, where sleeping in, doing laundry, and calling family, if the internet is cooperative. Amid this demanding work schedule, the station has embraced technology and mechanization wherever possible to ease the burden on its tiny workforce. Remotely operated pumps allow water management at the push of a button. The station's vehicles and machinery, from road trains, cattle trucks, to graders and backhoes, help maintain over 1,000 kilometers of station tracks and fence lines. Even routine chores like checking fence integrity or locating stray cattle have been aided by technology. Some stations are experimenting with drones for aerial surveillance and GPS tracking collars on cattle to monitor their movements. What used to take weeks on horseback can sometimes be done in hours with an aircraft or a well-coordinated team on dirt bikes. However, despite all the modernization, tradition remains strong at Anna Creek. Skills like horsemanship, while not the primary mode of work, are still valued. Horses are sometimes used in yards or for mustering in terrain where bikes can't go. The annual rhythm of the station follows age-old patterns: mustering and branding in the cooler months, maintenance and bore, drilling in the hot, dry times, and always keeping a weather eye on the horizon for storm clouds that might break the drought. The station community also keeps alive social traditions of the bush. Events like the Oodnadatta Bronco branding competition or the Mari Muster attract station hands from miles around when schedules allow, giving them a chance to show off their cattle handling skills and enjoy a bit of friendly rivalry. Through it all, the people of Anna Creek carry a deep pride. They are caretakers of a legendary station, living a life that outsiders might find unbelievably hard, but one rich in freedom and connection to the land.
In the next video, we'll face the toughest challenges of all: Drought, isolation, and the raw resilience it takes to survive out here. Don't miss it. Subscribe to Digital Papyrus for more true stories from the world's wildest ranches.